Bro, I hate rappers.
We appreciate you being here today.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, the first thing I wanted to ask you was when you first started blowing up, a lot of your first songs that you had that really made some waves in the industry did not have features. They were all just you. Like a lot of your big songs were just you. And that a lot of rappers nowadays and artists, they don't do that. Like a lot of artists, it's not that they're using features, but they need features to blow up, and you didn't need that. You blew up on your own merit, on your own sound. So how did that all happen?
I mean, it just happened like honestly through God, bro. Because like it's really unexplainable how it happened for me. Honestly, like it just started going by. I just caught on the internet and just kept going. And then like the more I dropped, the more it just took off. So like I'd be lying if I said I had a blueprint for this shit, like a real blueprint. Yeah, like I had my, I had my swag and I had my ideas that I was like, oh, I need to do this and this is what I expected from it. But to the extent of how it happened, like there's no way to predict that, honestly. But yeah, bro, I don't know. Like I see what you're saying. I never really talk about it because like, I'm a humble guy, but yeah, I mean, a lot of people do need features. And yeah, thankfully I didn't need features, and like not that I don't want features, but it just sounded good without them. So I just never really had like needed to really go out and go send it to people and shit. So
Yeah. So when you blew up, you were 16. And the game was a lot different than it is now. So what we have a lot of our fan base and followers here on the podcast as well as on my radio show are people that want to make it. It's aspiring artists, it's people that have been trying to make it, and they're just kind of take the advice of people like you and make it. So say you had to start over right now and do it all again today. Um, how is it different? Like I know there's social media and stuff now, but like it's the game's completely different. Like what would you have done today if you had to start over?
um yeah, it's a lot different than even when I was like 15 trying to do it. Like back then at the time, like there was only a few different ways like you could enter this shit, and like or you might be like the random person that just like, but yeah, at the end of back then there was only like SoundCloud, YouTube, and like Spotify and Apple Music, of course, but like the main outlets were SoundCloud and YouTube. So like now it's like there's so much shit going on that like you really have to stand out and be different. Like you can't just be doing what everybody else is doing. Like there's millions and millions and millions of people trying to make music and shit. If you don't the way you dress, the way you look, the way you sound, like the shit has to be unique, and it also has to be like fucking has to make sense. Like you can't be faking it. Like we could tell, like everybody can tell if someone's like just trying to be somebody they're not. So like being authentic is definitely big. But I mean, it takes a lot, and there's a lot of competition now. So like it's a lot harder. I feel like it's a lot. It's kind of easier, and then it's kind of harder in some ways. Like there's just way a lot more competition, so that's kind of makes it a lot harder. But it could be as simple as just having a TikTok that blows up. So
Yeah.
like it could be easy, it could be hard. It's just yeah, I don't know.
So you started out right smack dab in the middle of the SoundCloud era, and you took off from there. You lived through the TikTok era and kind of thriving through that as well. Now with the market being so saturated, kind of like we all like you even just said, how do you see artists, including yourself, and more of what your plan is, succeeding in like whatever the next era is going to be? What whether it's like a
Yeah.
continuation of the TikTok era or just whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like good music always makes a way, regardless of the situation. So I feel like at the end of the day, if the songs are good enough, like it's gonna find a space to live. And I just feel like, I mean, for me at least, it's been so long since I've like dropped music that like the more I drop, I know like things are gonna, happen a little differently. But yeah, I mean, good music speaks for itself. So like, as long as me, not even me, but just anybody, like just stays consistent and just stays on top of people. Like if the shit's good, it's gonna work.
So you went through a period where you weren't dropping music, and we have this big rap beef right now with Kendrick, Cole, and Drake, and a lot of the disses are directed at Kendrick only dropping 3 albums in 12 years, which is about 3 years apart, or had the 5 year gap in there. You're coming off of about two-ish year gap. Do you think that focusing on the quality of music and making sure that it's the best possible song or album that could come out is the best way to go about it? Or do you think it's making at least decent to good music to what you can do, and then just dropping enough of it consistently?
I mean, there's no right answer to any of this, I feel like, but I mean, definitely put out your best work, but there's really no right answer. And also, like, the thing is with that, the reason I said there's no right answer is because, like, at the end of the day, no matter how hard you work on a song, just because you think it's the best song doesn't mean that the world's gonna think it's the best song. So at the end of the day, like, for me at least, what's been the best for me is just to do what feels good and just put it out, and like whatever feels good. Like, especially I'm independent now, so kind of like how I've been feeling, like every other day I'll feel a whole different song. Like I'll be like in a whole different vibe. I might be a different person tomorrow. So like I just do what feels natural at the moment and just go with it. And whatever happens, happens. Cause like I feel like once you start overthinking, like a lot, like for a while I was overthinking and shit. And like once you start overthinking, that's when you lose it. So I mean, just doing what feels good, honestly, is the best option in my opinion.
So speaking of feels good, the new song that you just dropped, Thug Pop Star, it really sounds good, and you can tell that there's some meaning behind it, and
Thank
it's
you.
it's getting some traction. It got on our radar for a reason. It's doing good. And so is this going to be either a single or
Mhm.
lead single or anything from a project or anything down the road?
So I mean, the project is the goal for sure. I definitely want to do it when the time's right, and like, of course, I'm still working on it. But I mean, I have a lot of music I've been stacking up for the past like few years, and like I'm still making music all the time. So like, yeah, I'm dropping an EP soon, but and this is definitely gonna be on it. But as for the few lead singles that I plan on putting out, I don't want to say too much about it, but yeah, Thug Popstar I think is definitely gonna be something that shakes the room for me. And as I push in, as it spreads, I think it's gonna be something strong.
Yeah.
So going from being a signed artist to being an independent artist, what's the biggest shift that you've seen that you've had to adjust to?
I mean, it's definitely a lot more work than being at a major label. Like, it's not just before it was just like, all right, I want to drop this song and just let them do the rest. But now it's like I'm fully involved in everything and like making sure everything's running in the best way possible. Because at the end of the day, if I'm not doing what I need to be doing, then it's not gonna really happen in the best way. So, but I mean, I kind of like it though, because at least I know what's gonna happen and what's really going on, and I could really see the numbers and see everything, and like, yeah, I don't know. And also I have full like control over everything. So everything that happens is I made the decision to do it. No one else can say like, nah, you can't do that or something, like. So it's cool.
Yeah.
Definitely new, and I'm adjusting to it, but it's good.
So with new music comes new shows. Is Cleveland on your radar for a place that you want to be performing at in the future?
Yeah. So I don't. The last time I was in Cleveland was maybe like 4 years ago or something. But no, definitely, of course. Next time I'm on the road, I'll definitely make sure Cleveland's a stop. Definitely.
So Greg does shows, I DJ shows, and we see uh, we talk a lot about what we hate and love about the rap industry, and
Yeah.
we call people that really care about their music artists and art and their music and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And then the other group that we see a lot at our shows, we call rappers, the people that yeah, they're
Mhm.
making music, but it's not necessarily the same as an artist, if that makes sense. Um,
Mhm.
so there's certain tendencies that people have, like entitlement and showing up late to shows, and just like there's a whole bunch of stuff. But what in your experience of making music and performing music is something that you've seen other people do that it's just a pet peeve that you just absolutely hate when you see?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like a lot of artists kind of forget that like the reason that they have money, the reason that they're lit, the reason that they're famous is the fans. And like that's literally how you become famous is through the fans. So I feel like a lot of people forget about the fans and don't really care a lot about the fans and like feel like they're too good for a lot of people in the world. And I feel like for me, it's always been like they're what matters most because without them, like I wouldn't be here. And how am I gonna? You feel me? Like, yeah, I just feel like a lot of artists forget that, and like, so when it comes to like shows or meet and greet or like stuff like that, like they don't. Some people don't even like smile at their fans and shit, and that shit, I feel like that's weird. Like,
Yeah.
I treat my fans like my best friends because at the end of the day, like, they're some of the only people I have. So
When you started out, were you doing any showcases or anything in the cities around you?
yeah, I did one. It was a showcase. Forget what it was called. Um, Damn, I forget what it was called. But yeah, I did one back in the day, and I had to like I think I had to I might have had to pay to get onto it. I forget, but yeah, it was
Uh,
cool though. It was cool.
how do you feel about that as like a low, like at that point, like a very lower level artist and having to pay to get on the show? What's your thoughts
Yeah,
about
yeah. I mean, I don't really know how much it did for like a fan base aspect, but like the experience was definitely worth it. This experience of like it was my first performance, so the experience was definitely worth it. Like seeing what it felt like to perform for people and like these people don't know me. Like none of these people really know me. Like yeah, there's like a few of my friends and family, but like other than that, like I didn't bring out a whole crowd. Like so it's all brand new people and it's my first time performing. I'm a brand new artist. So it's definitely cool. And like usually like I mean, I don't know, for me at least, like the crowd was good. Like they were there to support because at the end of the day, like they know like what they're there for. They know they're there for like small artists that like aren't there yet. So like I feel like the people that are there are like there to support. So it was good. It was an experience definitely. I mean, I never did it again, but it was definitely an experience though.
All right. And then my last question is, if you had to give one piece of advice to an artist, and let's say that their numbers are looking like about less than 5,000 monthly listeners, you know, you got a song at like maybe 25K max, you got under 5,000 followers, you're trying to really break onto the scene and actually take this next step to get some motion. What would you recommend for them?
Um, I mean, just focus on the music itself because music always comes first. Like at the end of the day, like you can't do anything without good music. Like I know there's some people out there that might blow up with like a song that's like a cool song, but like that doesn't really happen often. And when that does happen, that happened because the person was like a likable person enough to like where it didn't really matter about how good the song was. But like even then, like the song was probably good enough to at least do that. So it wasn't just like some trash. Like, but yeah, I mean the music comes first. So focus on the music itself. Cause I feel like a lot of people like are kind of upset or like feel like they should be somewhere else and like their music just isn't there yet. And like when I first started out, I wasn't good. So like it took time to get better at it. Like every time I get in the studio, I feel like I get better. So like, and I've been doing it for a long time now. But at the time, like, and then some people got it, and some people don't. Like, but at the end of the day, you can get better over time. So it's just about working and focusing on the music first, and then I feel like the marketing is like people focus on TikTok and focus on Instagram, but at the end of the day, like you have to make sure the music is good. So I would say music, yeah.
Cool. And I think I got one or two more. So my I love um I love performing. I love being in front of an audience. It's great, and it every time
Yeah.
every time it feels like it's your first time. Like it's yeah, it's a job, but it's super cool to have people come out and want to see you. So
Hmm.
I gotta put you on the spot though. What's your favorite and least favorite place to play a concert at?
Um, my favorite is, I mean, both of those I feel like are hard to say. Like, I mean, not to say that America isn't fun and lit, and America's also there's a lot of places I love performing at in America, but Europe and overseas, a lot of different places overseas, there's the energy is just different, and I just feel like it's because they don't get to experience it as much. Like in America, like most of the artists are from here, so like we get to experience it every few weeks. There's another artist in your town, so like if I want to, I can go to a concert. Plus, there's probably a bunch of other like lower level artists that are performing too. So like if I want to, I can go to a concert like almost every day. But like out there, they don't see it often, and like they're seeing one of their favorite artists like pull up once in a million. Like, yeah, I feel like out of the country is the best. Least favorite, I don't really have a least favorite,
You
but
gotta have a least favorite.
I mean, I love everywhere, man. I love everywhere.
What was the worst experience then? Where was that?
I have a least favorite. I mean,
Yeah, we all got least favorites.
I mean, my least favorite, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a least favorite. I mean, I feel like I pretty much everywhere I went had fun, I would say. I've had some bad experiences, of course. Like there was this one time I think I don't even want to say a name because I don't remember exactly where I was at, but I was doing a festival. And like festivals, like especially when because I was coming up, so I wasn't on yet, like super. I was like if I would have done it depended on where I was at. Like I wasn't at the level where like everybody knows who I am. So I did a festival and nobody like I mean there was people in there that knew who I was, but like the shit was dead. And I just came from doing my own show, so I'm expecting something lit. Cause I was just you get used to just everything being lit and everything being they know all the words and shit, and then you go to something that's like nobody knows. And I'm like, and then on top of that, I tripped over one of the speakers or some shit, and then I cooked my leg. I think I still got like a dent in my leg from that shit, my shin. But yeah, that's just on video too. I posted that shit on TikTok. But yeah, so that was not the best show. That might have been I wouldn't say least favorite, but because like at the end it still was like it still was an experience. At the end of the day, it still fans came to support. So, but that was definitely probably one of the worst shows I've done.
yeah.
Yeah. The fall didn't help at all, but
And then my last question is how do you talk with the whole mouth all the time? I feel like that would drive me crazy.
yeah. Yeah, I get used to it. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, like when I used to wear it a lot more.
Yeah.
And so like I used to be better at talking with him and shit, but so now I'm like, I'm still getting used to it because I took a break for a while. I stopped wearing them like as much. So, but I mean, it's cool. It's worth it though. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like look at Kanye shit. That nigga can't even talk. But I respect, it's fashion. It's just hard. So it's just worth it. It's worth it. Like you feel me?
He got a mouth. He sounds like a mouth garden sometimes.
Yeah. His is a big boy right there. That's just a different tax bracket.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, we appreciate you coming on. We are really happy that you're back and dropping more music. We're going to be spinning this song on WJCU, as well as all over Cleveland. So yeah. But thank you for coming on today, and
Yeah.
we hope the next time you stop in, we'll do this in person.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you guys, man.